in talking with squares and square roots, we've got to talk about it. The problems above, those happen just if they ask you to evaluate. They're not involved in any equation or anything else, so it's really important that you realize these are just saying evaluate them. It's just sitting there as a problem, and there's nothing around them but that. That's how you do it. But there's going to be plenty of times, like maybe Pythagorean theorem, there'll be some other situations that come up that it's in an equation. Okay? Equation means there's an equal sign there. And that changes things a little bit. So if it's in an equation, you have to square root the 16, and you've got to consider both answers. Here's what we mean by that. What is 4 squared? What's 4 times 4? 16. In parentheses, what's negative 4 times negative 4 squared? No, negative times negative is positive 16. So see, it could be either one. So you've got to say plus or minus 4. Now I'm just going to get this out in the open here because this is a problem that comes up when we're talking about squares and square roots and stuff like that. Negative 4, not in parentheses, squared. I can tell you right now that this thing is not that thing. And if you put it in the calculator like the one on the left, you're not going to get 16. And you're going to think there's something wrong with your calculator. This one right here is the negative of 4 squared. You know how we talk about PEMDAS? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. In other words, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So that exponent has to occur first before that negative, which is the same as a minus. So this would be negative 16. But over here, you see how I had parentheses around it? So the parentheses kind of protects it and attaches the negative to the 4 when it's squared. So those two things are different. I hope you understand the difference. Do you see what I'm saying, how it would be different? All right, let's look at our last thing. So that list of perfect squares, and I told you had to make it a little bit longer. It would be for this right here. So this is estimating square roots without a calculator. And the way that you do that is you look at your list of perfect squares. So I'm going to kind of repeat it here. And over to the side. So I already had written down for you 1, 4, 9, 16, and we went ahead and put 25. What's the next number on the list? 36. And the next number? 49. Next? 64. Next? 81. Next? 100. I think we've gone far enough. We want square root of 98 estimated. Okay, so check this out. 98 fits right in there. It's right in between the square root of 81 and the square root of 100. What's the square root of 81? 9. What's the square root of 100? 10. Which number is 98 closest to, 81 or 100? 100. So you would estimate the square root of 98 as 10. You would write 10 for your answer. Does that make sense? You find where the number inside the radical sign, where it fits in your list of perfect squares. Put the one that it's closest to and square root that one. That's going to be your estimated answer. And we're doing that without a calculator. Questions?